to Calmsden Farm and episode 3 of our kind of realistic let's play, and we have more grass to mow still. I don't know if I said in the previous one that I would try and get this done off camera, but I haven't, so we're going to get back to mowing some grass, and I need to find where I left the rear mower. Last time we were towing the forage wagon behind us with this, but was kind of struggling with power on the hills. So, and I've just remembered that we have manual gearboxes switched on, so need to remember to change gear. So we're going to go back over to field 12 that we purchased last time, and while we still have a little bit of daylight left in the end of August, we're going to get that grass mown, and probably need to do something about fertilizing field 8, although we are going to plough that in the winter. Still no harvesting contracts, which is slightly annoying, but hey, it's how it is. This one is probably going to be a longer, more talky video because it seems to do better, so we'll see how this one does. It might be a bit like I did on the first video, and it might be a long intro and then jump into a time lapse towards the end, or it might have some time lapses in the middle and I'll come back and do some talking then. The time lapse we may or may not have commentary. We'll just see how it goes. A little bit of uncertainty. So if you remember in the last video, we paid £5,000 to add GPS to this tractor, and the light has just dropped a little bit there, but hopefully we will be okay. So we will be using GPS on here. I do need to find the correct gear as well. One of the things I love about VCA GPS is it handles offset tools really well, and I think we'll stick some lights on, and then we need to find an appropriate gear for running the mowers. Upper range seems to be mowing fairly quickly. Yeah, I'm kind of frustrated that we don't have any contracts yet for harvesting. There are a bunch of fields that are harvestable, and it would be really nice to actually harvest them. Hey, just how Farm Sim is. I've added in the contract service provider mod, which is on King Mods, to try and get more contracts to pop up. They just aren't. So yeah. We're going to get these. Oh, I missed a bit there. We'll get that afterwards. We're going to get the these two grass fields mown, and then we have a bunch of other areas that we can mow. Yeah, on. Install. There we go. So let's just have a quick look at the map so we can go through those. So there's the area up here behind the store which we can mow. There is the area over here by the garden centre, and then the area in here which everyone is ever so familiar with. We are going to get to mowing all of those at some point, and that may be the bit where I jump into a time lapse, because that's going to be a lot of mowing and then a lot of carting with our little forage wagon. And I'm actually tempted, because the forage wagon is so small, to bale this and release, or to lease a bale wrapper. We have a forage wagon that holds 20,000 litres, which is the equivalent of 7 bales, I guess. So maybe it's not worth it, because it'll be a lot of bale loading. And I do like loose silage for my TMR. Have got the Keenan mech fibre from 4D modding installed, poised, ready to buy. That's what we'll be using to make our silage, our TMR on here, because 4D modding stuff is awesome. Now, yeah, this is just going to be a case of going until I feel that it is too dark to get a decent quality video. So it's been a busy week in life. Outside of making YouTube videos, I ran an ultra marathon at the weekend, which is pretty exhausting. And we obviously had Storm whatever it was, and we were in the middle of Storm Franklin, and I damaged the roof of my shed, which I am waiting for the materials to arrive because I couldn't be bothered to go to the shop, so I ordered them on Amazon because I figured everyone is going to be buying roof felt to repair their sheds, and I didn't fancy the battle in the local DIY store. So yeah, did a temporary repair at the weekend, and waiting for the new roof felt to come so that I can refelt the roof on my shed, which is a little bit annoying. It's not a problem having to do it, I just don't like spending the time doing stuff like that. I can do it. I was lucky enough to have am lucky enough to have a dad that is very practical, and he taught me a whole load of stuff when I was a kid. So it's funny, isn't it? I work in a job that worries about health and safety a lot. When I was a kid, I was probably, what would I have been, about 12 years old. My dad had me, as I've said in the past, my dad built boats for a hobby, and to do that he built a massive shed in our back garden, and because he was quite, I don't know, I think it's just because he didn't want to do it. Because I was small and relatively light, he made me go on the roof to bolt down the roof panels, which I nearly fell off of, and the roof was probably, come on, reverse, what would it have been? Probably about 10 feet high. Yeah, it was pretty terrifying as a kid, but it meant that I was slightly more comfortable getting up on the roof now that I'm in my 40s, and yeah, helping him do all sorts of stuff as a kid means I know how to re-roof a shed and all that kind of thing. It's just not something I particularly enjoy, but equally I am too tight to pay someone else to do it, so yeah, that's why I will be doing it myself. It feels like I have semi-automatic gear changes going on here. Never remember where some of these options are. Gear shift mode. That's because I'm in automatic and I was running it as manual on here. Let's see how the gear we are in does for running this. That's much better. Not constantly hunting for the right gear ratio. Right, that's this half of the field done. Mower's picked up. Should be able to get this side done and maybe windrow, or maybe we'll do all of the mowing and then do all of the windrowing. As I said in the last video, my plan is to use this as probably a small field for root crops. We have MaizePlus coming. Obviously there is a lot of stuff being posted by Spoilerpool over on the MaizePlus Discord. And so I'm assuming that by the time we get around to harvest, we will be needing some sugar beet or potatoes. And I quite fancy doing sugar beet. Haven't done sugar beet on here, on FS22 particularly. So I think we're going to plant some sugar beet in here, which will be going in our TMR in the future. Pretty classic TMR ingredient in the UK to put beet in, usually fodder beet, but I don't think we are, certainly not with MaizePlus, we won't be getting that added to the game. So MaizePlus doesn't add, MaizePlus that's coming for FS22 will not add crops into the game. It adds all of the things that you used to get with MaizePlus, so the different silages, the different feeding of animals. We will be getting the grass tedding that you got with either MaizePlus or horse extension, so it's like the needing to ted grass 3 or 4 times to get hay, so you get wet grass and semi-dry grass and all that kind of thing again. I don't think we're getting the seasons style drying mechanic yet, not sure on that one, but we'll be getting proper TMR and things like that as well, so yeah, really looking forward to that. That is dependent, I probably keep saying this in almost every video, it's dependent on the 1.3 update to Farm Sim before we can get that. But yeah, if you're a fan of MaizePlus, get yourself over onto the MaizePlus Discord, where you can learn all about it. And obviously I will be doing videos on it once it's released, covering all the stuff that we've probably covered before. I think a lot of it is going to be quite similar, so we're going to get looking at the stuff Paul has posted. It looks like we're going to be getting beet pulp and beet pulp silage and brewer's grain and brewer's grain silage, and all the grain mixes and things like that. So I'm guessing a lot of the tutorials I did for MaizePlus for FS19 will still be relevant, but we'll do a refresh for FS22. I guess now is a good point to say, if you're watching this and you're not already, please click subscribe and turn on notifications. About 70% of you last time I looked are not subscribed, so that would really help out the channel if you would subscribe. And if you're enjoying the video so far, while you're down there, hit that like button. We do not smash like buttons, they are valuable. I need the likes. If you smash the like button, you have to buy me a coffee. And leave me a comment, let me know what you think of the video, and whatever style of video this ends up being. I'm not sure when it's going to be released, because it depends when I get time to record it, and then these guys take forever to edit and render and upload. I think we're probably going to call it a day once we've got this field mown, and we will progress it through to September. So I'll be then putting the time up to ×5, and we will be into 2-day months, which was the plan all along. It's just that the way FS22 works, you can't change the number of days per month until you progress past a month. So as we go into September, we'll go to 2-day months, and we will go on to ×5. I put it onto ×2 to kind of create the effect of having a 2-day month. Just get us a bit of extra headland room, and then we'll cut into this little patch, get that done, and then we will speed up time. Because I don't like working in the dark particularly, and it doesn't look very good. And it may be that that's the point where we get into our first time lapse. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the grass cut, we're going to skip ahead, and then we're going to buy some cows, because I really want to get those going. I am going to be doing a mixture of beef and dairy on here. If you watched my most profitable animals on beef cattle, they appear to be a very, very profitable option. So we're going to be running beef cattle as well as dairy on here. Dairy is obviously one of my favourite things to do in FS, because I do it on most series, but I'm going to get some beef cattle as well, and that will give us another source of fairly regular income. I think what we'll be doing is buying mature beef and dairy cows to get a good supply of milk coming in, and then from the beef side getting us some calves starting to be born. I think that's the best way of doing it on here, because this should be a relatively long series, so we can go with that approach, because we'll have long enough to get some calves produced, those picked up, and get them folded. Yeah, we should have long enough to get calf production going on to give us our source of income. I may buy a batch of young calves, beef calves, so that we can get some income in the nearer term as well. To remember to change gear. Yeah, I think now is a really good time to have a sleep, and we'll then hook up the animal trailer. I have not been to the animal dealer on here before, to quickly check the map and remind myself where it is. And I think we'll use the Ford to run up to the animal dealer. I'm hoping that when we fast forward a day, we will also get some crops ready to some contracts for harvesting. we do need to think about the fact that we need to get some grain in the ground. We could do a spring crop to get straw. Obviously straw improves milk production. It does not affect manure or slurry production in FS22. We can leave the mowers on the fence. We'll just tuck it in under the cover here. We've still got our trailer full of hay bales. So let's have a bit of a sleep, and I will see you in the morning. It's summertime, so we'll go for a 5 AM start, I think. My usual wake-up time. Yes, I wake up early. I have 4 dogs. You should know that by now. Still a tad dark. Let's just progress time forward a little bit until we get some... Probably 6 AM is going to be good, I think. Yeah. So we want it on 5 times. I'm just going to quickly check the state of the grass that we cut previously. So that's showing as growing now, which is fine. So yeah, it just highlights it more. So we've got grass here, grass in here, and grass in here that we can go and mow. But before we get to that, we are going to get ourselves our first cows. And I'm just very quickly going to pause and restart the recording. That was hopefully perfectly seamless. Just didn't want the video file getting too monstrous. Yeah. And I'm confusing myself because I don't have an animal trailer yet, so we need to go and do that first. This is probably the point where we're going to start borrowing money as well. So along with playing this series on here, I am playing another game on Calmsden, and that's what got me confused. I thought I had an animal trailer parked there. This is such a good map that I'm playing it twice. And if you haven't already, and I'm guessing you probably have if you're watching this, check out my comparison video of Calmsden Real World versus Calmsden Farm Sim. God, Oxy has done such a good job of recreating it. When I was in my car driving around, it felt like I knew the area just from the map. It was so strange. It's very surreal. There are some differences, but really not that many. Whilst we're driving, I'm going to do what you really shouldn't do when you're driving anywhere, and just check our contracts. And we do indeed have a harvesting contract on field 13. It's sorghum. That's not going to give us any straw. Some nice profitable sowing contracts as well. Try refreshing the contracts. We probably are going to pick that harvesting contract up at some point, and we will use their equipment to do it. Getting that big class combine to the field is going to be fun. Yeah, it's so like the real world version, and it's awesome. Right, an animal trailer. I'm wondering if it's worth us buying it ourselves. So I've got the Nice animal trailers installed. These are going to hold 8 cows. 7, 9, 5. Yeah, I think this trailer is a good option. 16,000. Wondering actually with where our finances are, I think we will rent it because it's going to be a while before we actually are at the point we can then sell any animals on. Right, I think I know where the animal dealer is, but I'm just going to double check. Sure, it's down there, so most of the way across the map. This would probably have been a good time to pause the video and restart it rather than when I just did it. But yeah, so that comparison video I did basically started here and ran down to the main farm and then back out It's just towards the edge of, well, it's kind of the middle of the map, and one of the things I was mega impressed with. So when I was driving around, and I actually hadn't planned to record any of it, I was just going to see if I could grab some pictures, but the recording seemed to work quite well. It was battering it down with rain, and the spot on Calmsden that floods further down the road here was flooded in the real world. That's how good Oxy is, that he can make the real world reflect his maps. His maps really do reflect reality, and that is just crazy. When it comes to creating beautiful, realistic maps, Oxy is a genius. Hello dear, you might want to get out of the road. Yeah, just run through the fence, that's fine. Probably need to make sure we close that gate. We'll do that on the way past, in case I forget. Yeah, this entrance here, this feature is really well representative of the real world, and this whole junction. So, and then we are going to turn off up here. No, we're not. We're going to keep going. But the video stopped here, but I actually ended up driving down here, and I believe when it rains, this dip floods, and in the real world, it was flooded. So cool. I hate this hill. In game, Ford seems to be coping reasonably well, but on the other game that I'm playing, we've been moving a lot of bales around, and oh, there we go. Quick, grab a lower gear. We've been moving a lot of silage bales around, and even using some big tractors, they struggle up that hill. If you're interested in what that save game is all about, get yourself active on the Discord. I am running a small multiplayer game. There is no guaranteed way to get into that multiplayer game. Basically, it is the people that are active on the Discord that are part of the community that I have on there. So there is a nice small active community on my Discord where, you know, some fairly similar people are chatting, and I set a multiplayer up so that we could play the game together. And I said, if you are interested in that, it's basically the way to join the multiplayer is to become part of the community, and if you fit in well, I'll maybe add you in. So let's buy ourselves some cows. So we are going to go for some limousine beef cow. They are a fairly common option over in the UK. We'll get a full trailer load of those. I'm going to be doing a few runs up here, I think, and I probably won't chat my way through all of them. It feels kind of weird having the I don't really have time pressure at the moment, but having the time fixed. So most of the FS that I've played, FS22 that I've played, has been much more just about exploring the game, and Survival Challenge is slightly different, but all of them I've been flexible on the timing in game, whereas on this one we're going to be playing at least 5 times. If I've not anything to do, I will skip time, but in terms of general gameplay, it will be on at least ×5. If we get eventually so the farm is too big to run with what we have, then I might extend the number of days per month. When I did this series on Sandy Bay, we did get to end up with quite a big farm, and this map has the potential to support that. So yeah, if we get so that we're struggling to get all of the jobs done and it's really becoming an issue, I will add a day. but what we won't do is change the time. Come on up the hill. I suspect we may need to drop down a gear to get up into the farm. So do that in advance. Drop down a couple of gears. Hey dog. And then yeah, up this hill. And then with this cowshed on Calmsden, you don't need to worry about water. Will be, because I'm going to be getting some mature animals where we care about their health. We will be feeding them. That's the first load in. I think I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I have. I have an open animal pasture that I need to do a few more tweaks to, that just Dad Adam edited for me. Used to be an awesome Twitch streamer, but sadly decided that it didn't fit in with things for him to keep doing that. Yeah, he's put together basically a custom nav mesh that fits over field 8, and I want to split it in half, and we're then going to our younger cattle, our younger beef and dairy cattle, we're going to raise on the pasture. Basically, we will be simulating that they are eating the fresh grass that is available, and we won't be feeding them. Because they'll grow just fine, and then when we get towards them either being productive as dairy cows or as beef that we want to sell on, we'll bring them into the main shed and get them on some TMR to fatten them up a bit, get the health up, and move them on. Storm seriously is going out there today. I think what we'll do is we'll get one more load on camera, because we're going to have to borrow some cash now. We're going to buy ourselves some mature beef cattle. I don't know if I can mix cattle types in the trailer. I'm actually going to back in this time. Yeah, we're going to need to borrow some money because we're going for the more mature ones. So, oh, we've got a little bit of a loan. Let's take the loan up to 50,000 and buy ourselves some beef. So these are 18 months old, which means once their health is up, they will be straight into being productive. And we are going to buy 4 of those. Now let's see if I can put 4 Angus in the trailer as well. There we go. Now get these back to the farm. And then I think my plan is that I'll see how much video we've got, and I'll probably jump into a bit of a time lapse of getting the rest of the grass mown, and probably come back to you after that, and we'll have a chat while we do the windrowing and maybe some of the collecting. That's going to take a while. A lot of the collecting will probably be time lapsed as well. But yeah, so I guess the big bit came of that is, yes, I do have a small multiplayer server running, but access is controlled by basically me wanting to play the game with you. And how do I find out if I want to play the game with you? You chat to us in Discord and you engage with the community. At the moment there are only 4 or 5 of us that get on there, and most of those people I have known. 2 of them I have known pretty much since I've been making farm sim videos. One of them I chat to a lot, so I feel like I know him quite well. And the other guy is turning into the same way. So, you know, if you want to be part of what we have on there, engage with the community in Discord. Jump in the general chat and just start chatting with people. It's not massively active, but yeah, just get yourself involved. So yeah, it's on Calmsden, and it's a big established farm that we run as a group. And I don't make videos of it because I just go on there to chill out and have fun. Back this in. Okay. View across. View across. And there we go. We've got our beef cattle in. I'm going to go and do... I'm going to do a couple of loads of dairy as a time lapse, and then get some grass mown, and then I'll probably come back and chat to you as we do some of the other bits. It's future me here. This video is going to be kind of complicated. Well, it's complicated for me to put together because it's been done in 4 parts. So in a few minutes we'll switch back to me doing a commentary style gameplay video again, but we're doing a bit of time lapse here, getting ourselves some mature Holstein dairy cattle, and I think I do some brown Swiss as well. We've got a real mixture in the pen on this one, which is not something I would normally do. So yeah, if you think this kind of video works, again, let me know in the comments, because this is another variation on what I've been trying, taking on the feedback that people like kind of less jump cuts, although there are some coming up because we're doing some pretty long repetitive jobs. It's going to be a pretty long video. I think it's about 53 minutes once it's all edited together. So yeah, let me know how you think this one is compared to the others that I've done. Pick up another load of dairy cows, and I know we do go for another full load of Holsteins. We're pretty broke now. We're going to be borrowing money. One of the things that crops up later is that harvesting contract that I talk about that goes away, and a bit of sorghum anyway, so we're going to get straw off it. I'm seriously considering that we need to buy Field 6 if we can borrow enough money to buy it, to get ourselves an arable crop, and just going to return the leased animal trailer, and then we'll head back over, and I think we get into some grass mowing now. But yeah, I think we're seriously going to have to consider whether we can borrow enough money to buy Field 6. And pretty much so many people are farming Field 6, but what I'm going to do, I think, if I can buy it, is split it in 2 once we've harvested it, aiming towards MaizePlus. I'm just going to put some feed in the cows. Aiming towards MaizePlus, we are going to need, some grain, so probably do some barley or some wheat, and we're going to want some maize for silage, and maybe we're going to put in the manure bunker. This is from the old manure bunker pack, I think. And obviously we had the caravan removed, and we're just going to tuck this in the corner here and do a little bit of landscaping, put down a little bit more concrete as a base for it. And what I have done is then jump into the XML and increase the storage range so that it definitely puts it in that bunker. So both mowers are on. We needed to grab a bit of fuel. I have cut the main secret field. Everyone goes on about the one over by the horse pen. I have mown that, and we're now going to head over to one of the others. But what we're doing here is using that mown area to draw a field with Courseplay, so that later on we can windrow that. What I've actually found when I get on to doing the windrowing, so I do use Courseplay to do windrowing, is that Courseplay automatically detects the cut area on some of these, I think. I'm not, it's kind of hard to tell because it may be using the boundary that I've drawn and then working it from there, but Courseplay is doing something cool. This is up by the garden centre, and it's quite a rough patch of ground. We might need to come in and do a little bit of land work on here, I think, just to smooth things over. And we're probably going to need to get a new set of blades on the mower, because I think we've been over a few rocks. But going to give us a nice bit of grass. It's quite a nice big open area. It is, if we did a little bit of land work on here, we could definitely put a crop in here. So we have a whole load of options for that. But yeah, seriously considering buying Field 6. I end up running really late into the night on here, and I do skip quite a lot of the windrowing and loading because it gets so dark, but I really wanted to get it done in this before the next video, because it feels like that's all I've done is do grass work on here, and I want to get into doing something else. So we do get the pit, certainly by the next video the pit will be full. I get most of it done in this video with a few jump cuts later on, but it turns out this was a lot of work, and it was a lot of carting across the map. So the Fiat gets through a couple of tanks of fuel. Off now to the area behind the store. This is another one, a nice communal area that you can mow and get quite a lot of grass off of. Shout out to Casa Farms for pointing all these out to me on our multiplayer server, because I only really knew about the one that everyone knows about. So yeah, these are definitely going to help out our cattle feed situation, and probably also our financial situation, because we're going to end up, I think, with so much silage that we will be selling some. Yeah, about to jump back to past me, so he will be with you in a bit, and future me will be with you after that. And through the magic of editing, I have travelled back in time. Well, sort of, because you'll have been listening to me in the future just now. Yeah, how's that? That's depending on how I edit this video together. So I have mown a bunch of grass, and what we're going to do is pick the Ford up, take that over to one of the fields and get that started on windrowing. Come on. Am I stuck on? Yeah, we're going to get the Ford started on windrowing with Courseplay. You will have seen and listened to me talk you through me drawing a field, hopefully, although that might have been a bit quick in the time lapse, so we're going to do it on the others. That seems like a really cool way of getting the fields into Courseplay. Now they have been mown, we can draw them with Courseplay, and then hopefully use Courseplay to do some windrowing. I will plough those areas in probably over the winter to come on, get those as proper grass fields. That's my plan. And because we're going to be using a worker to do this, I will be able to tab between the two vehicles to keep the worker going. So we'll turn off park vehicle. Yeah, just to try and get this done today, and then probably the next video will be that harvesting contract, I think. Come on, give me first gear. Forwards gear. So I think we'll go up and do the one by the store, because that's not an area I've seen many people do stuff, although to be fair I haven't been watching much farm sim videos lately. So people may be using it, I don't know. Been watching a lot more real world farming stuff, and totally unrelated to farming, car throttle. If you like Top Gear, and I mean proper Top Gear with Jeremy Clarkson and James May and Richard Hammond, check out Car Throttle on YouTube. They remind me so much of classic Top Gear. Particularly they have a couple of like the kind of Top Gear epic challenges, and yeah, they're really good. I really enjoy it. Go give those guys a watch if you like cars. Yeah, so binging a lot, most of their channel, to be honest. It's epic stuff. So yeah, I've not watched much farm sim lately, although you should watch my videos because they're awesome. Still watch a bit of Dago because for some, although he's frustrating to watch, I do find him entertaining still. Trying a bit of Mr. CDP. Yeah. But again, I blow hot or cold on on his videos, depending on how much narrative there is and some of the other stuff. I'm really fussy about what I watch. Right, so we need to try and draw ourselves this field in Courseplay. I know this is going to be really hard on the Windrower, but it's rented, so hopefully the guys at the store aren't watching. Right, so let's go into the worker menu and head over here, and then we click off of the vehicle and we can draw our custom field. I'm really hoping this works. I have not tested this. I kind of thought of this idea as I was doing stuff, and there's a really good chance we're going to end up getting stuck on some collisions and things. But we'll see how it goes. Once you've ploughed the field in, Courseplay will auto detect it anyway, so you don't really need to do this. But yeah, I thought it was a cool way of trying to get Courseplay to help us out. So we'll get back in the Ford and create a job. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but we will we'll see how we go. Headlands 3 smooth. We don't want any field margin. In fact, I'm going to go the other way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that looks. I actually think we might want more headlands. So I think it's because the working width is wrong because we had not unfolded the implement. Let's try that again, shall we? Probably 3 headlands might be enough now, because it's actually got the... That looks a bit horrid. I bet it's because it's got... thinks there's islands in there, doesn't it? Start working on... bypass islands, no bypass. I should watch some videos on how to use Courseplay. Let's clear that course. Create job. Courseplay field work is detected the field, so we're just going to do that as our field target. 3 headlands, no bypass, generate course. That's better. So, what I do want to do is check why I have the Courseplay wages set on, because I want them on 50%. First waypoint, go. Hopefully this works. Right, let's jump into the Fiat and get the Fiat over there and start loading up some grass. This is going to be a lot of carting, and I'm not sure how much of it we will show like this. Probably not a huge amount, because I think we're up to about a 40-minute video at the moment. This is where a fast track would be cool, or a big tractor that could tow a big forage wagon. Obviously this is our forage wagon because it was available in the sales. Oh, we haven't checked the sales. Let's do that as we drive. It'll be fine. Could possibly go wrong. Nothing in there we need particularly. Probably going to use some modded trailers, so yeah. We have a lot of grass mown now to try and get road up and in the bunker. Probably going to fill that pit up, I would imagine, and guessing we're going to be going into the evening, certainly, well, possibly into the night, certainly into the evening to get all this in the pit. But this is going to be the last video I was doing silage because it seems to have taken a while. harvest video next time. Hopefully we'll get a wheat harvest contract or a barley harvesting contract crop up. I should know my own geo, but September is the last month for harvest, so if not, we won't be having straw for the animals this year, which is not the end of the world. I was pondering, actually, the secret field that everyone gets excited about over by the horses, maybe ploughing that into an actual field, because I think we could get a combine in there. It's fairly flat. So yeah, I was seriously considering that as an option for getting us some arable land that was fairly cheap. I don't think this area or the one over by the garden centre is a good option for that, because they were pretty rough ground. But yeah, I think that field, or that area, is definitely something we could look at turning into an arable field, because there aren't many options for small, cheap plots of land. So I'm interested to know what people think of that, and we could make a field out of that bit, I guess, as well. It would help with the fact that we probably can't afford to buy another big field, and would maybe give us enough straw to get through year one. Looks like so Courseplay is working okay there. We might need to borrow some more money to pay his wages. And I suspect there is a good chance that we will have so much silage that we'll be looking to start selling some. And the BGA that's built into the map is really quite slow. It's a base game BGA. So we have access to it because we own it, and I could either speed that up a bit or have a look at adding in another BGA. Both are options, and we are full. Haven't realised that. That's why we were going quicker. So this could take a while. Hoping that I can get round their headlands before he starts making too much mess. But he has, crash, not me. He has made it around the first headland, so we should be good as long as he doesn't get stuck on anything when he's turning. Hopefully 3 headlands is enough to mean that doesn't happen. Yeah, I think we'll get this load tipped in the bunker, and I'll go back onto a time lapse because I'm going to be doing a lot of running backwards and forwards. But it seems like that drawing a field once we've cut it in actually seems to have worked. It'll be interesting to see again how it works on that secret field where there are a couple of trees. Might be they just manually take over to get around those. But we'll see. In theory, this could be running on auto drive as well, and I guess in the future when we've got more tractors and more kit, maybe we would run multiples, because again, this is so reminiscent of the series I did on Sandy Bay, where I spent a lot of time carting things across the map, because we're on a budget, so we are helping out some of the local councils and whatever. Bit of narrative which I just said I'm not a fan of, but you know. And we're managing some of the grassland areas, and that means, you know, much like on there's a lot of carting, but it gets our cows some cheap feed. I think we will probably replant that so that it's nicer grassland for people to, you know, picnic on and whatever, and gets our cows some better quality grass. Drop it down a couple of gears. See if we can get this into the pit without too much hassle. Probably going to need to get a roller or something, because this is going to need a lot of compacting. Again, I might do that. I'll certainly do that as a time lapse. I might do that off camera. I think we'll start laying it out a little bit thinner so that we can compact as we go. And yeah, brief visit from present me. Actually, it's a quarter-hour long segment, but I'm going to now get into getting all that grass rode up and in the bunker, and we'll do that as a time lapse. Future me will be back in a moment. And here he is, and yeah, so we've got the field up by the garden centre on being rode up, and getting all of that picked up and in the bunker. So one of the interesting things that occurred to me as I was just watching back a little bit of that clip before I started recording this was, see, there's no traffic on Calmsden, and I've seen a few comments on that, and having driven around it, you've probably seen the video that I did driving around the area. There actually isn't a lot of traffic on the roads there, and the roads really are this narrow. And I think if you saw the video, the bit of time that I was driving around, I think I saw one lorry and one car. And this road is not a public road. It feels to me like it's not a public road that you'd have people driving on. It's why I didn't drive on it as I was driving around. And so yeah, I think the fact that there's no traffic on the map is actually fairly realistic. We can do a bit of manual windrowing over here on field 12. So this, I think, as I've said a couple of times, I said it as I was mowing it, is going to be our sugar beet field for MaizePlus. I'm manually windrowing this bit because obviously in the previous video, I did cut some of this with the front mower and the loading wagon on the back. We're also getting into the point where it's getting quite dark and quite difficult to see, so I'm going to start jump cutting quite a lot because I do need to get all of this grass sorted, but the view is not awesome. The Ford doesn't have bad headlights, so we're going to get Courseplay going on field 12 now. We still have the horse field and the garden centre fields to do, and it's 7 PM at night, so we're going to be quite busy. Just finishing off loading up the grass on field 12, and I think we will call it a day for the video then, and I'll get the rest of it done off camera, and we'll probably start the next video compacting the pit. I think seems like it might be a sensible idea. Just looking for that last little bit, and we'll go get this in the pit, and we're getting quite full at this point, I think. So I feel I should aim to get another one of these loading wagons and maybe use a bit of auto drive to do this in the future. Yeah, you can see the pit is significantly fuller than the last time you saw it, up to 260,000 litres. So thanks for watching, folks, and I will catch you next time.